only be governed by oppressive authoritarian regimes. To a certain degree, Pakistan is a democracy because it has an elected civilian government, but the foundation of the country is negated by the fact that within 25 years, the country has a civil war and a genocide of Bengali Muslims is committed by the Pakistan Army in the name of Islam. So the fact that the only country ever created in the name of Islam breaks into two, commits a genocide against fellow Muslims, and then both Bangladesh and Pakistan stutter along and survive, shows that the modern experiment of an Islamic State has failed. In the case of Saudi Arabia, it is very peculiar because it is an invasion of the kingdom of Najd over the Sultanate of Najd, which is Central Arabia, over the kingdom of Hijaz, which is Jeddah and Mecca, whose family the British take out and say, don't worry about it, we'll create a new country for you, and they gave them Transjordan. And the other brother is made king of Iran. So Saudi Arabia too is not a country that is a natural evolvement. It is the occupation and invasion of one country by another, amalgamated in the name of a person. Probably the only country in the world, perhaps Philippines is the other, named after King Philips. But in this case, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is an utter, complete failure because it can only exist on the basis of an oppressive regime. And 5,000 princelings, and not the princesses, they don't exist. These 5,000 people operate a medieval kingdom, who, by the way, are our most trusted allies in the West. It is a country that can hold a Canadian woman at ransom and put a price on her head for $300,000, which you might or might not have read. This is a Canadian woman who is in custody of her husband for the last 3 years, and the Canadian government has been told, you can pay $300,000 and take her from us. Iran is a country where a revolution by left-wing nationalist progressive forces is stolen by an imam nurtured by our friend Saddam and allowed to live in France and flown back on an Air France jet to contain the communists. And we end up with the 30-year most murderous regime that can possibly exist on earth. Now, if these three contemporary states are such utter failures, and in the earlier 1,000 years of Muslim domination as the only superpower on the planet cannot create this Islamic State, this illusion that people are following, then what makes people at the UFT, MSA think that they could create an Islamic State here? Or our friends in Detroit in the shootout work for an Islamic State somewhere here? Or for the 32 camps that exist in North America of armed jihadis that the CIA created to recruit black Muslims to go as gun fodder to fight for them in Afghanistan. They still exist today. The book is targeted at those people to understand that there is a futility in the path they have adopted. And finding crutches to hold on to this path is not going to get them anywhere. But encasing women in mobile black tents is not an act of piety. And even if the slaves say, please keep me on because freedom means unemployment, that does not make slavery acceptable. But today, as a result of this chase for the Islamic State, you have tens of thousands of Canadian young Muslims born in this country having nothing but contempt for secular parliamentary democracy, who have rallied to have Sharia law in this country, who have absolutely no challenge, no one challenging them for fear that anyone challenging them will be called a racist. That is why I have taken this effort to throw the challenge to my medieval comrades in Islam to say that a political movement that could not succeed in the heydays of your supremacy is least likely to succeed when 60% of your people cannot read or write. Where your women are being subjected to genital mutilation, and those fortunate to have education are being told that they should cover their faces because they are a source of sin and they are sexual objects. That is not the time that, even if God willed it, that you could deliver a statehood for your people. Thank you very much, and if there are questions, I would love to answer. Sorry, gentleman at the back, yeah.
Sorry for interrupting you earlier.
No, that's okay.
I really apologize. I pissed everyone off. The events that are happening in Europe right now, in Austria, in Holland, I guess you've been following those events. I've got family living in Germany, and they're talking to me quite often lately about these kinds of things, and they're quite concerned about the attempt to recreate an Islamic State inside Germany. The Germans are pretty scared about it, and they formed a new political party. At first it was an objection to a mosque they were going to build in Cologne. It was going to be a big minaret mosque or whatever, and German people feel that that's a symbol of dominance, and the German people are usually not the kind of people who like to be dominated. It started off...
Oh, yeah, you bet that.
Yeah, like they're pretty aggressive people. Like, even my own family doesn't really accept me too much. When I told them from Canada, they kind of stared at me like I was strange. It took me a while to warm up. This is my own cousin.
Let me answer your question. Look, you refer to Germany. The issue is not that there is a Muslim population there. The issue is that the nastiest elements in the Muslim population have been entertained by the established order in these countries. In Germany, the Muslim members of parliament, and there are, I think, at least a dozen, from the Green Party, there are some from the SPD, there are even, I think, a couple of left-wing communists there. 100% of the elected representatives of Germany, the Muslim MPs, in France, in Denmark, and in Holland, are anti-Islamists. But they have a problem. They're simply not ugly enough to be considered authentic Muslim by the mainstream population. So, my friend Nasser Kidder, who is a conservative MP in Denmark, who's tabled a private member's bill to ban the burqa in Denmark, faces his opposition from his colleagues who are mainstream white Danish MPs, bleeding heart liberals. This guy is from the left. He left the Social Democrats to go to the Conservatives because nobody on the left was willing to even accept the fact that this is a fascist movement. In President Sarkozy's cabinet, there are 3 women, Muslim women, who are members of cabinet. There's a young African immigrant woman, I think she's not even in the mid-30s, who's a Minister of Sports. There is the Minister of Law, Rashida Dati. The Minister of Urban Development is Amara Fadela. All 3 women don't look like Muslims. They look like French women. That's the problem. All 3 say that Islamism is a cancer. They've used that word cancer for French society. They have demanded that the burqa be banned from their country. In Britain, you've got Labour Party MPs and Conservative members of the House of Lords who are all, I would say, progressive, liberal, open-minded, social democrats or believe in the Who does the Labour Party government of Tony Blair work with? The very people who hate Britain. Because they look like Muslims, they cough like Muslims, they walk like Muslims. And what is that? You just have to put on a guttural accent.